Coming up, men's basketball alum Williamson is here to reflect on the career of Sister Jean.
Plus, robot umpires are coming to the MLB.
I'm Tashae.
And I'm Kim Flores.
All this and so much more.
Rambler Sports Locker begins now. Welcome back, Loyola fans. As the school year gets into full swing, our Rambler athletes have been busy making noise on campus and beyond.
And speaking of teams making noise, our Ramblers have been busy too. From the field to the court, Loyola stacking up big moments.
Let's take a look at how our Ramblers stacked up. Jenny Marchi has this week's Rambler Rundown.
As the school year picks up, so do our Loyola sports. Last Friday, the cross-country team competed in the Notre Dame National Catholic Invitational. The men's team took home second, and our women's team took home fourth. It was a tough weekend for women's volleyball. On Friday, they lost 3-0 at home against Minnesota, and on Sunday, they lost to UIC 3-2. The team will be in New York this weekend against Fordham. It was a great weekend for soccer. On Saturday, men's team beat Rhode Island 2-1, and the women's team beat Fordham 1-0. The men's team will be at home this Saturday to play George Mason, and our women's team will travel to North Carolina to play Davidson on Sunday. That's all from the rundown. For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Jenny Marchi.
Thanks, Jenny. It's been an exciting week in Rambler Sports. Things have also been ramping up in Major League Baseball. As we head into the postseason, more on that later. But now Brandon Wolak is here with another MLB update on robot umpires.
Thanks, Kim. Major League Baseball is stepping into the future with a groundbreaking change to the way games are officiated. Starting with the 2026 season, the MLB will implement an automated ball strike system, also known as the ABS. The ABS, often called the robot umpire, is a challenge system approved by the MLB's competition committee in September of 2025, using high-tech cameras and advanced software. The ABS tracks pitch movement and determines balls and strikes with pinpoint accuracy. This system will operate as a challenge tool. Teams can appeal a human umpire's call, and the ABS will provide the definitive ruling on clearly missed pitches, ensuring more accurate and fair calls on the strike zone. The ABS has undergone extensive testing since 2021, including trials in the minor leagues, MLB spring training, and even the 2025 All-Star game. These tests have proven the system's ability to reduce errors and improve the game's fairness. For years, controversial calls have sparked debate and sometimes changed game outcomes. By introducing the ABS in 2026, MLB aims to bring consistency and transparency, giving players, managers, and fans a more reliable strike zone. Supporters say the ABS will speed up the pace of play, reduce arguments on the field, and let umpires focus on other important calls. It also adds a level of precision that human judgment can't always achieve. Still, some purists worry about losing baseball's traditional human element. Players and umpires will have to adapt to trusting technology alongside their instincts. Regardless, the introduction of the automated ball strike system in 2026 marks a major step forward for baseball, promising a fairer, faster, and more exciting game for fans everywhere. For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Brandon Wolak, sending it back to the desk.
Now from the ballpark to campus, an iconic figure at Loyola is saying goodbye. Amid health concerns, beloved men's basketball chaplain Sister Jean has retired. On this edition of Sideline Chats, Vanesa Hoxha will be talking to men's basketball alum Williamson for more on the legacy she leaves behind. Take it away, Vanesa.
Thanks, Sky. Well, it's officially the end of an era, and a familiar face on the sidelines of Gentile Arena will no longer be there. The Loyola Phoenix broke the news earlier this month that Sister Jean has retired. At 106 years old, after more than half a century serving at Loyola, including 29 years as the men's basketball chaplain, she leaves behind a legacy that stretches from Loyola to the national stage. Sister Jean went viral during the 2018 Cinderella story when the Loyola men's basketball team made their Final Four run in the NCAA March Madness tournament. Many called her the team's guardian angel or good luck charm. Sister Jean touched the hearts of many fans, students, and players. Joining me now is former guard Williamson, who was alongside her through it all. As one of the most decorated athletes in Rambler history, he led the team to 3 NCAA tournament appearances, leaving his mark with over 1,300 career points and 500 rebounds. Lucas, welcome back to Loyola.
It's a pleasure to be here. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, well, we're so excited to finally have you in studio. Listen, if you know Loyola basketball, you know Lucas Williamson, so it's an honor to have you here. You know, we've seen you on the court. I met you for the first time in Gentile for a game last season. Would you say you go and visit the team often from time to time?
Yeah, I'm sure that they're sick of me, how often they see me. I mean, I'm up at Loyola all the time, talking to Drew, bringing what I can bring to the guys.
Yeah, well, we know that you have such an extended background and you were so successful here at Loyola, and we could probably talk about that forever. But today we're going to focus on Sister Jean. And Lucas, what was your initial reaction to hearing about her retirement?
I mean, it's no secret that she's 106 years old, and in my mind, I just figured that she was just going to work there forever and be a part of the team forever. But, realistically, that's not realistic. But, I was sad. I'm not going to lie. Like, I feel like Sister Jean and Loyola basketball just kind of go hand in hand, and I'm interested to see, like, what we decide to do next.
Yeah, well, I think everyone can agree with you where they said, Sister Jean will probably hopefully be there forever. I feel like even incoming freshmen, they hear about Sister Jean and they want to be in the environment, and sadly she'll no longer be on campus. Mm-hmm. But, at the time when she was here, students, athletes, coaches, staff, they all got to reap the benefits of her presence on campus, whether it was her friendly smile, her advice that she would give to students. So how did her presence shape your time at Loyola?
Yeah, I think one of the most impactful things I think about her was when I first got on campus, her door was always open. And it was right in the middle of like the student center, and anybody could walk in and just have a conversation with her and chop it up with her. I think, before our games, we always got our own time to sit down and talk to Sister Jean, and of the many things that I was doing extracurricular, off the court, I was always just around Sister and got to build a relationship with her. I actually visited her I think a week or 2 ago.
Oh, really?
So. I love Sister with all my heart.
Yeah, can you talk a little bit about that experience, what it was like seeing her a week ago, and
what
did you guys talk about? How is she?
Yeah, well, I mean, she's 106 years old and still very sharp. I mean, it's such a blessing. It really just puts a lot of things in perspective for you, especially being in college, being a college student, and just seeing her remembering who I am and all of what we did, and just having a conversation, her asking hey, what are you up to now? And I'm telling her I'm still playing, and just catching up. It just warms my heart. It just warms your heart to be around her.
Yeah, what does that mean that, even after all these years, and I mean, you graduated and she still remembers you, what does that mean to you?
It means a lot. I mean, it means a lot to me when anybody comes up to me and says anything about Loyola basketball and the time that I spent here. But it means a little bit more, coming from internal, as somebody that was with us and somebody that got a lot of exposure and was with us while we were having all the success. It does mean a lot.
Yeah, well, speaking of exposure, I mean, you were there in 2018 when it seems that the whole world met Sister Jean. So what was it like with that and your experience having her alongside you throughout that whole run?
Now that was crazy. It was crazy because we made it to the Final Four. That's one thing. But it was also crazy about how the world seemed to just pick up this story of Sister Jean, and I loved it. And Sister Jean had so many cameras and everything in front of her. They had to be like, hey, she's only available for a certain amount of time. She is over 100, and you can't just bombard her with questions. And it was so funny seeing us as the players, and then watching all the media skip all of us to go and run to talk to Sister Jean. And it was so fun. It was it's memories that I'll have for the rest of my life.
Yeah, so speaking of memories, tell me, do you have a favorite memory of you and Sister Jean, whether it was in Gentile or with you guys in your run in the NCAA tournament?
Yeah, I think for me, outside of just the emails that she would send to us every single game, and then before every game she would give us a team prayer, but outside of that, I actually had the honor of giving her the Loyola sword, which I think was the school's highest honor that we could give to a member of our faculty, and it was a crazy day. It was at a luncheon, a Loyola Scholarship Foundation luncheon, and I was able to give her that honor. And she, as soon as it was a real sword, actually, so I gave her the sword, and she was in the wheelchair at this point, and she gets the sword and just holds it up.
That had to have been iconic.
Yeah, I'm I'm thinking that she's gonna have the sword and just hand it off, but of course she puts it over her head like she's celebrating. It's funny.
She made it.
Yeah.
Listen, I mean, if anyone made it here at Loyola, I mean you and a bunch of other athletes, but Sister Jean has definitely got to be one of them. So I want to transition a little bit to talk about your life after Loyola, because I know that you didn't stop here, and you went pro, and you signed, and eventually went to the Memphis Hustle, which is the NBA G League affiliate for the Memphis Grizzlies, and then you encountered some adversity. You had 2 season-ending injuries. What was that like? Talk a little bit about that experience, and through those adversities and all those moving parts post-graduation, did Sister Jean ever leave you with anything that kind of inspired you or helped you through those times?
Right. Yeah. I mean, I've been out of school for I think 3 years now. I've had 2 season-ending injuries, and it's been tough. I've had season-ending surgery on my foot, season-ending surgery in January on my shoulder, and it's teaching me a lot of life lessons. I think especially when you're about to graduate school, you kind of have an idea of what you want your life to look like, or what you think your life is going to look like. And I think for the majority of people, it ends up not being specifically like that. And you have to pivot. And I think that was some of the things that I learned. And tying it all back to Sister Jean, I think just her spirit and who she is and how she was every single day, at her age of 106, it's I really have no excuse but to find another way, but to relate to people the way that Sister Jean does, but to try to improve people's lives and impact the world the way that she did. Because if she had the energy for it, then I definitely need to have the energy for
no
it.
Excuses.
So I think that was something that anybody could take away from Sister Jean.
Yeah, well, that's awesome. Thank you for that. Now, tell me, what makes Sister Jean so special? I know you talked about her prayers that she would give and, all of the advice that she would give to you guys, but was there something about her that just made her so special? I think people that don't know Sister Jean, they just don't really know her. She's so competitive, and she has such a competitive spirit to her. And she has a lot of energy. You would not think that she's 106, especially when I first got here. You would not think that she was that. And you would also think that her prayers would be just a regular standard prayer. It would be a scouting report. It would be, hey, we want number 4 and number 10 to not score shoot threes today, and number 4 and number 10 would be 3-point specialists. And I'm who gave Sister Jean the scouting report on the team that we're about to play? And this is included in the prayer, asking God for them to miss these threes. So I think it's her competitive spirit and just her energy is something that I don't think a lot of people know about her. Yeah, well, that's awesome. I mean, she was apparently Drew Valentine part 2, so yeah. That's awesome. All right, I know we have time for one more question. So she won't be on campus anymore, unfortunately, but she's still cheering us on from wherever she is. Now, although she can't be there to give the prayer or pre-game speech to the student section or the fans, let's say you, for example, what would be your advice to the men's basketball team this season, before they get going in the regular season? Yeah, so it's September, so I would say you win championships now. The goal always is to win a championship. Now we're in the A10, of course, is to win an A10 championship and to go into March Madness. And once you get into March Madness, it's kind of anybody's world at that point. But I would say you have to fight for your standards, and you have to fight for your championship today, because this is when you win your championship. So if you think that you could take a day off, if you think that you can take a drill off, if you can take a possession off,
these are the practices that we're going to get you to deeper into March. So that would be my advice.
Awesome. Well, Lucas, thank you so much for that wonderful insight and for joining us today in the studio. Although Sister Jean won't be courtside at the games anymore, like we said, we know she'll be cheering us on from wherever she is. You can watch the men's basketball exhibition match Sunday, October 19th in the Red Line rivalry as they take on DePaul at 6 p.m. For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Vanessa Hoxha. Kim and Sky, back to you.
Sister Jean will certainly be missed. Now Henry Isenberg has a story on the Ryder Cup.
Every other year since 1927, the top American golfers in the world have played against the top European golfers in the Ryder Cup. This year's event will take place at Bethpage Black Golf Course in New York. The tournament alternates from either a European or American location every cup. The teams consist of 12 players, 6 based on their scoring throughout the year, and then 6 players chosen by the captains of the teams. The captain for the Americans is Keegan Bradley, and for the Europeans, it is Luke Donald. The American team is headlined by world number 1, Scottie Scheffler, who has 6 wins on the year, 3 more than any other golfer. The Europeans themselves have quite a team. They are headlined by world number 2 and this year's Masters champion, Rory McIlroy. The tournament spans across 3 days of match play with different rules every day. Friday and Saturday, teams will play in foursomes, where they will either play alternating shots or by best ball. Sunday consists of 12 single matches. Each of these 28 matches is worth a point. First team to earn over 14 points is the winner. Throughout the tournament's history, the U.S. leads with 27 wins compared to the 15 wins of Europe. However, up until 1979, the European team only consisted of players from Britain. Since the team has added players from the rest of the continent, they have a better record than the United States, and they have won 6 of the last 9 cups. The home team in the Ryder Cup has won every time since 2012. Let's hope this trend will continue in 2025 and the United States defends home turf. For RSL, I'm Henry Isenberg.
Thanks, Henry. That breakdown made the Ryder Cup way easier to follow. Now the pressure is on for the U.S. team. Now, Chicago Fire fans, take note. The team is firing up on all cylinders. Bora has the highlights from their big win against Minnesota United and what it means for their playoffs push.
Thanks, Sky. Chicago Fire FC continue to push for a spot in the 2025 Major League Soccer Cup playoffs. This comes after another away win against Minnesota United. With the 3-0 result, the Fire brought all the action to the pitch and recorded a number of team milestones. This included the first MLS goals for defender Waterman and midfielder Davila. The third goal came from the MLS All-Star Zinkernagel, marking his 14th goal of the season and a total of 27 goal contributions so far. Now, the Fire had an opportunity to get a score 2-4 after being awarded a penalty in the 85th minute. But Minnesota United goalkeeper St. Clair made a save when faced with Chicago's forward Kuipers. Also, this win was extra special for head coach Greg Berhalter as he earned his 80th MLS match win, placing the Fire in 9th place in the Eastern Conference with 45 points. This Saturday, the Fire comes back home to face the Columbus Crew at Soldier Field with hopes to strengthen their chance for the spot in the playoffs. For Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Bora Cecia.
Thanks, Bora. Really helps to see the Fire's big wins and milestones up close. And speaking of big matchups, it's October baseball time. Let's turn it over to Joe and his crew for their take on the MLB playoffs.
Hello everyone, and welcome back to The Ramble. I'm your host, Joe Mangold, and I'm here with AJ Lee and Henry Isenberg for an exciting rematch after last week's tie. Even though football is underway, it is time to look at a more important sport, baseball. On Tuesday, September 30th, the wild card round of the MLB playoffs began. Of course, the Chicago Cubs are back in the playoffs after their roster improvements this season. With that, AJ, how do you think the Cubs will do in the playoffs?
Honestly, I think that they are going to win their first series against the San Diego Padres, or that's what it's looking like. As a Cubs fan, I have pretty full confidence in saying that. I think it's going to be a tough matchup with whoever it turns out being. They play against some tough guys. Like they're either going to have to face the Dodgers or the Phillies, and I would love it. I think it's going to be a competitive second series, but I think that's where their playoff run's going to end.
All right, strong take. Henry, what do you think?
I agree. I do think they get out of that first round. I think the home field advantage at Wrigley Field is much too high. But I kind of agree with you. I think whether it's the Phillies, who are super hot right now, or the Dodgers, who have already a Hall of Famer in Shohei Ohtani, that's not a guy you want to see in the second round of the playoffs. And I also agree. I think that's where their playoff run ends.
Wow, I mean, this is a first, you two agreeing on the ramble. Well, folks, I got to give both points to you guys.
Okay.
We're at a draw already. Great takes. Let's jump ahead now to the end of the playoffs. Henry, who do you think is going to win the World Series?
My World Series take is coming from the AL, just because I feel like it's an easier route to get there. I feel like the AL is a much more open division than the NL is, and I think that is going to be the Seattle Mariners. I trust in Big Dumper. I trust in that team, and I think that they can win the World Series this year.
Wow, all right. Very confident. Very. AJ?
Honestly, my first thought was the Mariners too, but then I thought about it a little more, just too streaky, Like, they went all in at the trade deadline. They traded for Eugenio Suarez, and they traded for Josh Naylor. And they're doing not too great. Cal Raleighy's going to do a great job, Julio Rodriguez, but I just don't think that they're going to make it out. My take is that the Phillies take down the Red Sox in a surprising matchup. I think the Red Sox are one of the hottest teams in baseball right now, and especially if Roman Anthony comes back from his injury. I think they're looking good. I mean, Jarren Duran, Trevor Story, both top 5 at their position. But I do think the Phillies are going to win. Kyle Schwarber, 50 home run season, incredible. Bryce Harper, all of those guys just doing a great job. I mean, they traded for Harrison Bader at the deadline. He's doing well. They traded for John Duran, one of the best closers in baseball. So I think that the Phillies are going to take it in.
Wow, I mean, for someone who said you didn't know baseball, I don't know if I can believe you now after that. Well, I got to admit, AJ, I got to give that one to you. Folks, I mean, incredible arguments from you guys. I wasn't expecting a tie in the first round, but with today's episode, AJ is going to be our winner. Personally, I'm looking forward to what the Cubs and honestly every other team's going to have to offer in the 2025 MLB playoffs. AJ, Henry, great takes today, and I cannot wait for you guys to be back again. Now let's swing and hit this one back to the anchors.
Thanks, everyone. Great takes.
Absolutely, Sky. And with October baseball now just getting started, we'll be right here to update you on every big play and moment.
That wraps up this episode of Rambler Sports Locker.
To stay up to date on all things Rambler Sports, be sure to follow us on X, TikTok, and Instagram at Loyola RSL, and subscribe to our YouTube channel.
From all of us here at Rambler Sports Locker, I'm Tashae.
And I'm Kim Flores.
We'll see you next week, and don't forget to turn off the lights.